Hello everybody, this is my 2008 Yamaha V-Star 650 custom model. I added a couple more mods for the end of the summer of August 2013. So let's get right into it. I added this flush mount gas cap, as you can see. I think it adds for some character. Take this off. All metal, a rubber ring to create a seal, an adapter that gets epoxied to the tank. So basically what you have here is the old style. This is the one with the key. You put the key in, closes these flaps, you spin it, take the thing off. Obviously it doesn't fit, but it sat pretty high on the tank. In my previous videos you could see how high it sat. So what I did was got an aftermarket gas cap. Basically what it is you have to put this metal ring on there. They give you the epoxy, they give you the metal. I suggest taking the tank physically off the bike and putting it on a nice workbench, or you could pretty much tape around this whole area. They say to drain half the tank. I guess maybe the fumes from the epoxy and the gas, whatever. So I basically took this whole tank off, which obviously you take this off. There's two bolts right here. The tank sits on two rubber grommets, and I just put it on a workbench. Mixed up the epoxy on the back of the box, and I basically took note to where the epoxy, the metal cap touches the fixed cylinder in the tank, because obviously you don't want to epoxy anything that you don't have to. So basically the ring around the tank, I put a nice half-inch bead on it. When I was done, it looked like a line of cork, and then I just put this on and basically twisted it until epoxy was, I felt nice, and around it I put a surgical glove on. I put my finger in it, and the lip I just kind of went around and made sure the epoxy was all packed in there, and I actually left the tank off the whole bike for more than 24 hours. And the end result is a more flusher gas cap with no key. Sits nice, just snug. So there it is. Semi flush mount compared to this. So that's one accessory. The second accessory I have is way down there. That is a oil pressure gauge. An oil temperature gauge. Strictly temperature. This Yamaha uses oil that lubricates the clutch, that lubricates the engine, everything. It's just one oil for everything. You take the cap off and you just put this on, you just tighten it till it's snug, and then this actually spins whichever way you want to read it. And for the most part, I just started the bike for a couple of seconds, and that's it. I think it adds to a nice look. I think I run about 110, 105 when I'm really riding, and that's it. Can't see it when you're riding, but it's just something you add, and then you just back this off if you ever have to change the oil, which I did a couple weeks ago. And let's see, what else did I put on the bike? And the grand finale, folks. The grand finale of my 2008 Yamaha V-Star 650. Yes, a Tach from Baron. They have the master cylinder reservoir cover plate. It comes, this is separate. This housing and this gauge and the wire come with the gauge. The whole setup is this color, a silver chrome look. I actually took the whole piece off and I sprayed it, because the bike's half chrome, half black, a little bit of chrome, a little bit of black, a little bit of chrome, a little bit of black. So I think that adds for a nice look. It sits crooked when you're riding, but for the most part, you just turn the gauge whichever way you like. There's a set screw underneath. This whole housing sits on there. It comes down. Got it wire tied. Disappears into the bike. Have it running under the tank and behind the battery, and it's connected just like my volt gauge is connected. Voltmeter, and that's it. There's previous video on the voltmeter. There's no need to open up the box. That's the ultimate finale of accessories. Let's get on the bike and show you what it looks like while riding. So you're basically riding and you're shifting, or you want to see how the engine's doing, and you just take a glance. It comes with a little clamp that you could put here. I personally feel like when you're riding, the last thing you want to do is, constantly look up and down. I run about 4,000 RPMs before the bike is like, telling me to shift or start screaming. But yeah, this is it. This is what I look like riding, and like I said, you could back this plate off. There's a set screw underneath here, right there. You could turn the gauge any way you want, and that's it. So let's see this thing work. There we go. The light and of course the switch 12 volts are on at the same time, and then one goes to one coil, the negative terminal, the other coil, and the other one is ground. When it gets a little warmer, for the most part, it pretty much works. Oh, and the bike's cold. So, I ordered these parts, this part, I ordered this part, I ordered the gauge from sscycles.com. I believe it's in Newburgh, New York, upstate New York. And they were pretty reasonable. Yes, it says Baron on there, but they were cheaper than Baron for whatever reason. The one good thing they give you, which I don't need, is this. This is some kind of coil modulator. It's for different types of bikes. Some, I think, dual firing bikes. I think this is a single fire bike. There's dual firing somewhere in here. Different style bike. You got to put this in here. It gives you instructions. You wire it, and you make like both the coils one coil, so this gives you a true reading. Of course, knock on wood, my bike didn't need it. Like I told you, follow the wiring gauge and you'll be fine. Underneath the tank, if you just follow the spark plugs underneath the tank next to the air box, this spark plug was more accessible. You just follow it, and then basically what it is you just follow this stuff, and then there's like a cylinder right here, positive and negative, and then the two positive wires on the V-Stars are the same color, and each negative wire is different. So I ran one wire straight from the gauge to the negative terminal of the coil. Obviously the light and the ignition goes in the battery box, and then the ground, the negative. So that's it. That's all the summer of 2013 add-ons I did for my Yamaha V-Star. If you watch my other videos, there's other mods and add-ons. There's one other thing I wanted to touch upon, is I guess the neck brace or neck shield, they call it. It was cracked when I bought the bike. You could see it's cracked right here. This was rubbing on the tank. For some reason there's a piece that goes this way that's not on there no more, and this is it. It comes glossy black now as opposed to flat black. So I bought this not knowing it, so then I bought the other side. You got to take the tank off. You have to take the tank off. You will probably do what happened with this. You go to take the ignition out, this sits on the rubber mount of the tank. You go to pop it out, this bends. Now the ignition is in the way, and then before you know it, now you do one of these. It gets caught on the fork, you know, right there, and then now basically what happens is it got caught and it just bent, it cracked, and then you rip it off and you get pissed. And I had to take the tank off to put it back on just to see if this piece was replaceable. So I have this side. It comes with so you have to buy this. This kind of was peeling off. Didn't know that until after I bought these pieces. I could have got this off and hit it with glue, but you know what? All new pieces. This piece was around 12 to 15 bucks. The other side was 12 to 15 bucks. This side, this piece right here, prevents the wiring harness from digging in. This piece sits on the frame that the tank sits on. And then the other side, it kind of blends in with the bike, and that's it. The other side does not have this. It has two of these, one here and one here. Probably could have got one for the other side because there are wires that go in there, but technically from the factory that piece was not on there. So that's just a little thing I put on. It went from this to glossy, kind of matches the tank. But that's it. That's everything I'm doing. We're into September already. Got a couple more weeks, or until it gets cold, until you have to winterize the bike. And that's it. Those are my last modifications for the summer of 2013. Thanks for watching.